So today is going to be a video all about how we harvest our meat birds off of our property. I have some older footage that is from about 2 years ago, I think, and that is some chickens. And I have some recent footage that we just took the other day, and that is of our turkeys. So the older footage, yeah, I'm not great at filming, so some of the shots aren't the greatest, so I'm really sorry. But hopefully you guys can see what we're doing here. The intention of this video is for learning purposes, education. I want people to learn how to properly process your birds. When we first started doing this, years and years ago now, like, I don't know, it was a long time ago. I don't even know. Over 5 years ago that we harvested our first birds off of our property. It was turkeys, and I could not find a good video showing me how to harvest them, or us, my husband and I, how to harvest them. And it ended up being a real messy experience, and I wish we had found a better video to follow. So this video is going to show you how to humanely do it, how to quickly do it, and how to fairly easily do it, because turkeys aren't as hard as you think, though they can be quite big. And the turkeys in this video are outrageously big because they actually should have been taken at Christmas time. We took 2 other turkeys that we consumed over Christmas, and we should have taken the other 3, but we didn't. And so they're really quite large. So you can see that we struggle with them a little bit in the video, but you can also see that it's totally doable and not that hard. So all of that being said, any of you who are not interested in this, there's no, like, it's not hugely messy, but it is, and you may not want to watch this video. So anybody who follows us that like comes and visits our farm, because we do have followers that come and visit our farm, you probably don't really want to watch this. Though there are some of you who might, because I know there are some of you who have actually asked if you could come and help us when it's harvesting time, which we'll probably take you up on someday. Anyways, I am totally done rambling on in this video, and let's get into this bird processing video, and let's get you guys comfortable processing your own birds so that you can be producing some more of your food on your property.
Our setup for harvesting our birds. This is our scalding pot setup. We got this from Rona. The pot, it all came together, didn't it? The pot and the burner thing, the bottom burner, came together, and that's propane heated. And this is our Yardbird plucker. These are our harvesting cones, which we made ourselves, and I'll show you a video on how to make some of those up. These are bigger, for bigger birds, out of the pots. Those are gardening pots, and then these are milk jugs for smaller birds. To take note, some of the other things you're going to need: one is going to be a sharp knife, probably multiple sharp knives. You're going to need, this is just like a heat resistant glove, which makes it easy for us to dunk the birds in.
You are also going to need a nice big long thermometer. The thermometer that we have here is it's a compost thermometer, so it's really nice and long. It works really well. We also have an old fire poker to move the birds up and down with, but you can actually, some people use an old potato masher and hook the turkey's or the chicken's feet into it, so you can also use that.
We need 2 buckets. One bucket we're going to have for the heads and the guts, and one bucket we will put that will collect the feathers. I'm not sure where that bucket went, but I'll find it.
So this other bucket here, we have drilled holes in the bottom so the water will come out. When we hook it onto the Yardbird plucker, it collects the feathers and the water kind of drains out the bottom. And there isn't an actual hook on the Yardbird where the hole is. The bucket just kind of sits there quite nicely. So now we will get started with this process. We won't show you the actual removal of the heads, but I do want to show you exactly how the birds react after you chop their heads off, because that's something that we really wanted to know when we first started doing this. So both of these birds' heads have been removed. And by watching the video back, it took them about 2 minutes to stop their death throes, which is pretty well, I think, what they call it. Once they've stopped moving around, I always give them a hose. These guys' feet were really, really dirty, which cleaned off in the plucking process. Anyways, we take them from here after they've drained out some of their blood, and we put them into the scalding pot. I'm sorry, you guys, the shot is not the greatest. I'm not a camera person. I'm a homesteader, so I will try and get better shots of this for future videos. Anyways, we just have them in the pot, and I'm kind of moving them up and down, and they're in there for a minute, and then we take them, we put them in the plucker. We find that 2 birds at a time work really, really well in this plucker, and it cleans them off, and they almost look just like store-bought birds. Very, very beautiful. So it takes about 45 seconds to a minute in the plucker, and then they're ready to be gutted. Sometimes their feet need a little bit of encouragement to get slip the rest of the skins off of them, and sometimes there's a few feathers that might need to be plucked, but they generally come out of this Yardbird plucker really nice and clean.
Take and cut the skin on the neck. Make sure you cut away from yourself. Don't cut yourself. And inside here you're going to have this harder piece, which is the windpipe. And you're going to have, wherever it is, this softer piece, which is attached to the skin on the neck. Might be kind of harder to find if you're not familiar with it. It's tough, so you can pull on it. And what you want to do, or what I do, is pull it off. It'll be on the skin. And it's here. And it's attached on the skin. It's like a little pouch. That's their crop. So this is their esophagus, and this is where they hold their food. And it's also attached to the breast. So you can just do all this with your hands. And just pull it off of there. This is where it really, really matters. If they've been fed, that crop will be full of food. And you want that to be empty. Or mostly empty. Okay, so I always start out by removing that. I hope this is very, very bright. I hope that you guys can see this all right. And removing the skin from around the neck, and then I grab onto that skin and I cut it off. And I put it in my bucket. Okay, so now that that's removed from up there, the sun isn't too bright and that you can see this. So next what I do is I cut a little slit right under the breastplate. And there'll be another little bit of skin. So you've got your skin, and then there's this other little membrane in there, and you want to cut through that as well. But you want to be careful, because inside, right on this side over here, the gallbladder will be over there, quite close to that edge, and you can nick it. So do be careful of that. I'm also, right now, before I start doing too much work, going to take and cut this part of the skin at the bottom, so that when I start pulling things forward, I can pull that out. And we're going to cut the whole bum area off. Not right now. We're going to do that after. But I just want to start that so that I'm already prepared for that when I get to that point. So, what you're going to do once you get this cavity kind of opened up a bit, is take your hand and put it all the way up to the top as far as you can. And there'll be some membranes in there, and it's totally safe. Just pull your hand around inside there and loosen everything up that you can. The heart will be the first thing that your hand will be on inside there, and then you've got the liver, the liver is on the sides. And so we're just going to go through and loosen up what we can. The more stuff you loosen up in there, the easier that this is to do. And I also, at this point, try to find the esophagus, and the stomach, which I think I just might have broken, which doesn't really matter. You're going to take the rest of that out once you get everything else done. There's the, no, I said the stomach, but it's not the stomach, the crop. There's the crop. And I just pull all that stuff forward, if it'll come. It's being a bit of a pain right now. There we go. I think I hadn't loosened it up all the way up top there. That's important as well. So along the spine. And yeah, your hands are going to get all yucky. So the first thing that I remove, oh, this is a lung that I see I loosened up. It sits along the back. I'll try and show you the other one if we can see it. I'm going to rinse that off. I am going to keep the lungs this time around because I'm going to give them to my dogs. So I just put that in my sink for now. But what we want to do is we want to get our heart here. Okay, and it's inside of a little casing. So you puncture that. Now sometimes that heart has liquid around it. I don't know what that means, but I know that some of the birds have it and some of them don't. So it can be a little bit messy. And then you just want to cut the top part off. This is if you're keeping the heart. And I don't see why you wouldn't. You can either eat it or you can feed them to your dogs. Okay, so the one thing that you really want to be careful of is this little guy right here. That is the, I can't remember what it's called now. That's the gallbladder. And you don't want to nick it and you don't want to cut it. So that's one thing that you really need to be careful of inside of here. So what I do is I just pull back the liver and cut. And sometimes I will cut away some of the liver just to be really careful that I don't cut that. And then I'll grab the rest of it. It's really attached. Okay, and then you can should be able to just pull that part off. And then we've got the liver. And then the rest of this is very simple. Now I usually do this into a bucket, but I can't have a bucket and my phone filming in front of me at the same time. So I usually let this hang off the counter down into the bucket, but I'm not going to be able to do that. So I get whatever entrails there are left inside there, the yicky bits that we don't want, and I pull them forward. See, this is another part here where you want to make sure that your birds don't have any food in them or poop or whatever. You don't want that to come out. This is the poop chute here, and we're going to cut that right off. So you just follow it down the bottom and pull it and cut it off. And I just cut all the rest of that skin off altogether. And then, like I said, I usually let that fall into a bucket. Oh, there's one last thing that I forgot. I forgot. Now this you may or may not want to save. This little guy here is their gullet, I think they call it. Maybe it's called something else. I might need to look that up. Anyways, so there's probably some food in that part there. This part's a little bit messier, and you can't even see what I'm doing. Like I said, this would usually all be down in a bucket, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. So I will just cut that off out there, preferably without cutting myself. I'm making a real mess. This is usually so much easier without a camera in front of me. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to the sink here. Isn't so pretty to clean up, so I can understand you're not wanting to, but if you do want to, this is how you do it. I recently had a friend show me how to do this, and this is good for the dogs. We keep this part for the dogs. So you just cut along here. I really would rather be doing this over my sink. And we just want to open this part up. And if done correctly, I know it looks really, really yucky, but all of this skin, I also usually do this over top of the bucket, but it's over there and I'm not moving the camera. This all just pulls right out of there. And I really don't want to get this on the counter. So you can just pull that right out of there. Clean it up. I usually try not to touch the stuff that's inside here. This is essentially like their stomach. So there, see how nice and clean that got? And then all your yucky bits go into your bucket. All right, now I am going to move you over to the sink because I'm going to show you this. Oh, there's one other part that I did want to show you inside here that's left. These little guys, I don't even know what they are. Pull them out if you want. Leave them. Doesn't necessarily matter. And so one thing that's left inside there, which I think the camera is picking up, that's one of the lungs that we didn't get. So I just take my hand and pull it along and push down on the rib cage while I pull. And then you should, oh, that lung's damaged. You should be able to get the lung out of there. And I'm going to go and give this a rinse. And now here is one of the turkeys. This was the smallest turkey that we did. I think it might have been the only one that we actually filmed. The other ones were really big. As you can see, they don't fit in the kill cones very well, and they hardly fit into the scalding pot. But we do one side, and then we flip it, and we do the other side. And it actually worked out quite well this way. Excuse the bloody mess there. But that's unavoidable when you are harvesting your animals. So we also put this girl, this was actually a female, into the plucker just to help get some of the feathers off. And it sort of worked. The other two birds we just ended up completely hand plucking because this yard bird is not designed to do turkeys. These guys are quite big, but you can see the feathers, so long as you scald them properly. We scald them at 160 to 165 degrees. They tell you to do it lower, but we like to do it a bit higher and find it works really well. And we do that for about, with the turkeys, we did it a minute on each side, and all of the feathers just come right out if you've scalded properly. There will be 3 feathers on the wings, though, that will be difficult to get out. So now I'm going to show you guys the gutting process of this bird. So I always start by removing the legs. With a turkey, they've got like a little bit of a backbone where their leg bends that can be difficult to get through. And I was having some troubles getting through this one because I'm used to the chickens where it just comes off. And I haven't harvested a whole ton of turkeys before. So there is a little bit of skin left over. Oh, this turkey had an injured leg, if you're wondering why that's so fat and so much liquid comes out of there. She had an injured leg from being when she was really young. And the rest of their skin, if it didn't come off when you first scalded, you can just put them back in the pot. And when you take it for like a couple of minutes, and when you take them out, their toenails, everything all comes off. And then you can use that for your soups and whatnot.
Okay, now we get to work with the fun side.
She doesn't have any food in her.
You do want to make sure that you're taking their food away. We usually don't feed them for about 24 hours. It makes much less messy of a process. So now I'm just slitting up the neck, and we're going to get the windpipe and the esophagus, figure out where they are. So the big thick one there, that's the windpipe, and then the esophagus is also in there where they take their food down, and that's going to be attached to a little pouch inside their chest there, which if you get your hand in there, you can actually just pull that all out without using a knife. And I recommend doing it with your hand because you don't want to cut that open. If there's any food or anything in there, you don't want that ending up inside the bird or on you. It's kind of icky. And then I just pull the back part off and away from the neck and try and get as much stuff off of there as I can. If you need your knife to help you with this, go ahead. And I just pull all of it away and pull it down, and I'm going to cut it all off together.
All of that off. Boy, these guys have got the necks, I tell you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get all that off in one fell swoop. Pull it down. You don't want to get yourself with your knife. Maybe we should be in a different spot here.
Maybe.
And cut all of that off. And I don't have my doing best. I'm gonna take the neck off now.
With turkeys, the neck can definitely be difficult to cut off. I actually got my husband to help me, though I probably could have done it myself.
So much. So much.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm gonna use the clippers, maybe, with my... Dad, do you want to squeeze this with your strong hand? I just know.
The
that-
strongest hand you have, please. Oh, wow.
There we go. Good.
Because you're doing that.
Anyways, so we're done on that side. Now we're gonna flip this guy around, girls.
So I make a slit just below where the breasts sit, just above the vent. You can tell it's where the soft part is. And I also like to make an incision up from the vent, which is their poop hole, you know, that spot. And there's 2 bones on either side, so you're going to want to cut around that. But be really careful because you don't want to cut the intestine. And if they have any poop in their system, you don't want that on the meat. So with turkeys, this is actually quite a simple process because they're nice and big. And I just cut around all of that part and
Everything else out just with her hand. So you won't be able to see this in the video, but I'm putting my hand up here and I'm pulling all the membrane, everything that I can. I'm gonna find the heart first on top here. So I've got the heart in my hand right now. And boy, it's hot inside this beast. I'm going to pull my hand through and I do like a movement like this with my hand inside.
Oh, yeah, you're like scraping it off
Yeah.
the top.
And trying to find the pieces inside there that were up connected, like the esophagus and the windpipe are all up top. And then on the back part of the bird, underneath, that's where the lungs are. So if you can do this right, all of it comes out at once. If you can get your hand in there and scoop all that stuff out. This is obviously way easier to do with the turkey because it's
Yeah, 'cause
way
it's giant.
bigger.
You
Ducks-
can really
ducks are
put
the
your whole
hardest.
hand in there.
So now I'm grabbing onto the esophagus inside and the windpipe and I'm pulling all of it forward. And there are pieces in here that we want to keep. So we want the heart. And the heart is inside of a sac. So you got to cut that sac open. And cut the parts off we don't want. There's the heart. And we want the liver. And the liver is the hard part. And you want to be careful of this green beast here. It's called the, oh my
Evil
gosh, why
green
can't I think
sac.
of what it's called?
The gallbladder?
That's it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the gallbladder. And you don't want to cut that open. And if any of that gets on your meat, I might do a voiceover here. It'll taint the meat. So you want to be really careful
You don't want to turn into a zombie.
and cut. Wow, this gallbladder is crazy.
There.
Holy. This gallbladder is, there's a lot of gallbladder there. There, so we got that all off. We didn't cut anything open for the most part. And if you don't want the liver, well, I don't know what's wrong with you, but if you don't want the liver, you can just dump all of this in the bucket. Save as much as you can. There we go. Liver. They also have the gizzard, which I suppose I will show you. And we didn't get the lungs out there in there as well. I want the gizzard though. Okay, so then the lungs are going to be stuck to the wall of, or the cavity, like in the rib cage. And you got to kind of like just take your fingers and scrape it off. Might not be the funnest experience.
I'm not too sure what I'm recording right now.
Or if you can see. And that's what the lung looks like. needs to be rinsed, but you can feed those to your dogs. Well, you're trying. Okay. And then we're gonna take this guy, and it's kind of yucky inside.
It is just too fucking big.
But
Holy
are you
shit.
filming?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
We're gonna cut this open.
Okay, maybe one of these that you think there.
And if we can get it right. Oh my god.
I know. I'm like swinging it because I can't even.
Move it. Is that the bigger one or the smaller one?
I don't know. It was the one walking. It was a male.
Oh.
The other one was laying down.
Okay, I think I actually cut this one the wrong way around, which
I
doesn't
think,
matter, but
I'm gonna go inside and wash my piercing.
Oh.
Because
What?
I just got turkey.
so when you pull this open, this lining inside here, which is full of rocks and stuff that obviously we don't want, the lining comes off. Like I said, I've done this backwards. I always seem to do things backwards. And you can just pull that whole thing out of there. Interesting. Huh? No? Too wet? Doesn't want to start? Now, if I had done this the other way around, this would have worked out a lot better, but it will. And this, we can also feed to the dogs. I mean, people probably eat it, but this is a dog treat. Oh, she's too heavy. And her out. And you want to cool her off. Some people put them in water. Sorry. It's okay. I'm going to take her right inside. Right inside. And put it in the fridge, not the freezer, it's the fridge.
This was just a quick shot of the other bird that we did. We actually did another one on top of this. The one you saw me do was 18 pounds. This one was 33 pounds and the other one was 27 pounds. So that's it. I hope that this video helped you guys. We aren't the greatest at filming things. Sometimes it can be really hard to get in there when you're trying to harvest and do all of this stuff and really get good shots. We're not the best at that sort of thing. But don't be afraid to try this yourself. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. I totally answer people. I'm here to help. That is the whole point of this channel. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. You will be seeing lots more things like this and gardening and how-tos and all of that sort of thing. Also share this with any friends that you might have that need some help to know how to do this themselves. Thank you very much for joining us on the farm today and have yourselves a good day.